You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi everybody, I'm Stana and this is
Demi.
And we're here at the Children's Hospital LA and Demi is teaching me how to blow bubbles. Some more? You want some more?
Yeah.
Okay. Woo! That's great. Do you want to hold this? That was perfect. That was wonderful. Demi's also giving me a magic wand.
And ready to start our magic. Yes.
Thank you guys. See you soon.
Bye.
It started off as an idea because when I first moved to Los Angeles is a very kind of car-centric city. I was surprised at how isolated I felt. And the reason that was happening was because I was stuck a lot of the time in the bubble of my car. Whereas my experience in a lot of other cities was one in which you were exposed to the heartbeat of the city because the transit system took you in and out of a number of different communities or centers, city centers. And it was easy to meet people because of that, because you're constantly engaging with people. In some ways, I feel like that's why New Yorkers are so gregarious, is because they're constantly engaging with other people. So as I was traveling around Los Angeles, I thought to myself, when and if I have the opportunity to have an outreach to people, I'd like to try to change that. I'd like to be more respectful of my environment and engage with the community that I'm living in more. And so 3 years ago, I decided to give up my car, go car-free for 7 days in a month. And one of my co-stars joined in, Seamus Dever. And it started there, and we just volunteered these days without a car, and people across the globe joined in. And it's been pretty special. There have been some really neat stories since then.
Yeah. Did anyone think you were crazy when you first decided to do this?
You know what's funny is the production, because we were filming at that time, production was nervous. And I had to get on the phone with the producers because they were concerned that I would be riding my bicycle down to San Pedro. We had a filming day in San Pedro. And they were wondering how that was going to happen and if I was going to be riding my bicycle on the highway and things like that. But I spoke with Andrew Marlowe, I spoke with Laurie Zaks. I think those were the two producers on the phone that day. And after they heard what it was about, they were tremendously supportive and just very excited about it and the project and the intention behind the project. And Andrew, you know, had his own experience living without a car in Los Angeles for a long while. And so I think that he's very environmentally conscious as well, and respectful. And so I think that was something that he could, you know, stand behind, and Laurie as well. And so it's quite sweet.
Now Earth Day is coming up.
Yes.
Do you get excited when it comes around? I mean, I assume so.
Yes.
Yeah?
Well, of course,
Why,
yeah.
Why is it so important, this holiday?
I think it re-emphasizes the fact that, or maybe brings to mind globally the idea of being careful and respectful of the world that we live on, and finding ways of integrating a healthy lifestyle and a healthy experience and creating a space in which the future can exist in that same kind of healthy atmosphere.
Do you have a message now that, you know, you have this platform for when Green Day comes? Like, what is your message to fans about that day? Do you encourage them to do something? Do you want them to, you know, try going without their car on that day? What's your message?
Well, I think the tagline for ATP is go car free for just one day. And if you just dedicate at least one day, that's huge. There's a huge impact. If everyone on the planet just dedicated one day without a car, there would be a really huge impact for us as a community and for the environment in general.
On a international level, but like bringing communities together, you know, whether like meeting people on the bus, that's what we're meant to do as humans. It's to
socialize, congregate, create a sense of community. The transit system in a city, cities have been in existence. I remember listening to this guy speak. Cities have been in existence way longer than the car has. So creating a city that can exist without just car travel is really important, and to the actual fiber of that city. So I think that this city in specific has to rethink some of our traveling setup, and we have to be a part of generating that same thought pattern for developing countries and cities, and also for other metropolitan areas.
Yeah.
And we're a part of creating kind of a culture, because we are the ones that put movies out there, we're the ones that put entertainment on television, all sorts of kind of imagery. So if we are a part of that messaging system and service, then I think we have a really wonderful opportunity here to create a message that is going to positively affect our planet, our future, community, just a global community even, you know, not just like, oh, I live in the US, I'm a part of the US community, or I live in, you know, Argentina, I'm a part of the Argentinian community. It's a global thing too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think this is a great place for it to start, and I've seen it reverberate internationally, and it's just a matter of giving up using a car regularly and choosing something different at least once a week, you know.
And I see it on your set because we just saw Nathan on an electric scooter
Yes.
zipping along.
Yes, and it's really exciting actually, because he's also made an effort to explore alternative kind of methods of travel through new technology, as have some of the other co-stars, and Seamus rides his bike to work often. So, and that's had effects on other people too, like makeup artists have ridden their bike to work, some of the assistants and PAs, and even one of our assistant directors rides his bike to work regularly from an hour away. Yeah.
Wow.
It's really impressive. Wow. Yeah.
Now,
and it's much more fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
When I began at the theater school, I was coming from a traditional academic background. I had finished what essentially amounted to a pre-law studies with a focus on international economics and affairs. When I was here, we weren't allowed to do any theater on the side. Is that still the case? Yes. I'm going to share a story. Now, for all of the people that are still students out there, this is my disclaimer. I am not encouraging this behavior. He or she, asked to chat after class in his or her office. Anyway, as we would have it, we were talking about the era of the Greeks, and in the thick of talking about Antigone. So for those of you that are unfamiliar with Antigone, it's basically an ancient play about a young woman who disobeys the king and gets killed for disobeying the king. So, an hour and a half of Antigone, and let me tell you, the professor who shall not be named laid it on thick, while managing to find the one sliver of a standing position in which all of his or her pointed commentary would laser through my large classmates and land directly in my lap. After class, in the discomfort of my professor's office, the professor shut the door, began a very serious private discussion. I saw you last night. Silence. I realized at that point that my belly button was very interesting. I tried to focus on my belly button. I thought a lot about my belly button. The professor said, You do know it's not allowed. Yes, I mumbled. Silence. Why did you do it? Because I love it. That was the first time all day that I actually looked into my professor's face, and I saw a pair of twinkling, impish eyes staring back at me, and there was something in my professor's grin that was thoroughly enjoying the comedy of life and enjoying my obvious suffering. And most probably it was because my professor knew that she was never going to tell on me. If you are out there, if you know this professor, thank you. Thank you for not ratting me out. You were one of the many gifts that I have had that has led me to this place right here, right now. If it wasn't for you, I never would have had to do those journal entries for Gabriel, our yoga guru, who pointed out how many times in my journal I wrote, I think, and had me go back and re-explore my five senses through I feel. Again, paradigm shift. If it wasn't for you and others at this school like you, I wouldn't have gotten to do mask work on Imogen and explore what it meant to be a phoenix. We're studying Shakespeare in our movement class, using his metaphors to explore movement through animal references he makes for his characters. I mean, it was incredible. We had foxes, fish, snakes, monkeys, all of us working on monologues in this open movement room. And my character was compared to a phoenix, which is great, but I mean, it's difficult to find on YouTube. And what's interesting is in the months leading up to this classroom exercise, I was having these vivid dreams. I was writing abstruse poetry about these dreams. There was something that was shifting, something was evolving or mutating, perhaps. And whatever it was, I didn't have a conscious awareness of it. One recurring dream that I had was that I was inside of my body, aware of myself, and at the same time I was outside viewing my being objectively. And in this dream, my ribs were cracking open on the sides. And as I was taking a breath, I was lifting my arms, and through my ribs, these wings that were attached to my arms were unfolding. Anyway, when I went to study a phoenix, I was looking for some kind of characteristic that I could use in movement class, something that I could use to play with the fish and the fox and the other creatures. And what I got was little in the way of behavior. I got a lot in the way of symbology, rebirth, resurrection, regeneration, renewal. I was undergoing a mental and physical paradigm shift through which I was redefining my life's course, my entire way of seeing and interacting with the world. I was unfolding, if you will, through the guidance and expertise of the professors and students here at this school. There was a new chapter in my life that was beginning, and it's led me here. Recently, I got to play the part of Lenore Kendall. She's a love generation poetess. And she said the following, and she talks about poetry, and I don't think that it's exclusive to poetry, because poetry is art. Life is art. Acting, directing, writing, lighting, Paul Miller, is art. She said, poetry is alive because it is a medium of vision and experience. It is not necessarily comfortable. It is not necessarily safe. When a poet censors his vision, he no longer tells the truth as he sees it. This results in an artificial limitation imposed on an art whose direction is beyond the limits of the conceivable. There are no barriers to poetry or prophecy. By their nature, they are barrier breakers, bursts of perception, lines into infinity. I thank all of the faculty and students here that were part of guiding my path into this sandbox of truth seekers, barrier breakers, and scofflaws. And I look forward to playing with each one of you. You guys have given me a huge gift in life by having a hand in the continuing evolution of my being. Thank you.